Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I got a bunch of great guys here tonight. They're going to entertain you. First, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Ron White.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Most people know me as Ron White, and you can also know me as Ron White. Today, I'm going to tell you all about a story. It's called The Merchant of Hicksville. It starts off with a young boy named Andy. And Andy's got some real problems with his life, if you know what I mean. He's like a dog's tail. He always sees the wrong side of life. He's always talking about how sadness has taken over his life. His finances have been drooping lower than coon dog ears on a hot Mississippi summer day, and they're heavier than a buzzard on a gut truck. And then this sorry sucker he calls friend starts accusing him he's on the love train. And there ain't nothing worse than a single man accusing people about their love life. Then another fella, Grandy, warns Andy not to be a pushover who just wants to be a clever folk. Now we meet Patricia. And Patricia is a rich descendant of a wealthy old man. And everybody wants to marry her for her money. Well, her dad doesn't like that idea, so he decides he's going to decide who marries her. And whoever chooses the right jug of moonshine gets to wed her. In accordance to a riddle, boys gonna come from all over the country because they want a quick money wedding gift. But all Patricia can hope for is to marry Bubba. To be able to have all the money Bubba needs a loan from Andy. When Bubba arrives, all Stevie can think of is his hatred for Andy, with remarks cast upon him from Andy like misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spat upon his longhorn-loving self. Stevie says he'll give Bubba the money, but Mom didn't raise no fool. If Andy doesn't bring the money, Stevie said he's gonna get it. You see, Andy likes the longhorn. Stevie likes longhorns, and Andy and Bubba like the Aggies. You know, the country's kind of 50-50, and the two didn't do much concern each other. Well, thank y'all. I gotta go. So.
Thank you, Ron. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed hearing the first part of our story, The Merchant of Hicksville. I would like to... Hello? Jeff Foxworthy, how's it going? You're where? Well, you should have looked before you sat down. Yeah, I'll bring you some. Wait a minute. I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mr. Bill Lingbaugh. Now, I'm going to run along. I gotta go take Jeff some toilet paper. My friend Bill here's going to tell you all the rest of this story, part of this story.
The son of the mayor is willing to take the challenge set by Patricia's father to get Patricia's hand in marriage. Meanwhile, Lance, Stevie's farmhand, has a problem. His boss is a longhorn. Lance used to be a longhorn, but then he went to one of the Aggie Inns and saw how truly amazing they are, and now he doesn't want anything to do with his longhorn boss. Lance then becomes Bassino's new assistant at the garage downtown. Jessica, Stevie's daughter, plans to elope with Larry against their father's wishes. Were he to know, Jessica reveals her shame to her father. She claims that he's worse a man than Mac Brown himself. And growing up in the Aggie County and being a member of the fan club, that is one heck of a crime. Injustice. Larry explains to his friends, Grady, Sal, and Skyler, how they will help him and Jessica run away from her pa. Lance, Stevie's former assistant, delivers to Lorenzo a letter from Jessica explaining that Jessica will be waiting at her house for Lorenzo and friends, and that she has taken some of her father's jewels and gold as well. The letter also explains that Jessica will be disguised as a boy to aid her escape. Shylock bumps into Lancelot, learning that Bassino's party, which he will reluctantly be attending, will be a masquerade ball. I think that's the one with the mask and stuff. Stevie tells his daughter Jessica to stay at home, to do her best to ignore the Christian revelries which Stevie despises. Jessica escapes from her father's house to live a new life as a Christian as well as the wife of Phil. Jessica is embarrassed to dressed as a boy, but that's alright because she gets over it later. The masquerade ball is canceled, and Phil and Jessica are to sail away with Bubba instead of attending the party. Billy Joe undergoes a 3-casket challenge for poor Tricia's hand in marriage, choosing the gold casket and losing. George and Fred comment that the ship has recently floundered, hoping that it's not one of Andy's. We learn that Phil escaped Jessica's... One second, please. The ship has recently floundered, hoping that that's not one of Andy's. We learn that Phil and Jessica escaped successfully from Stevie, who is too late to prevent his daughter's escape. Stevie is furious at the thought of losing his daughter. More than that, he's mad about his precious gold and jewels going to a Christian, and knows that Andy is partially involved and swears his vengeance. At Georgetown, another suitor has arrived. Billy Bob, not blinded by the inscription on the gold casket, which bears the phrase, "Who chooses me shall gain what men desire," he instead chooses the silver casket, which bears the inscription, "Who chooses me shall get as much as he deserves." Opening the silver casket, he finds a portrait of a blinking idiot mocking and presenting a schedule or letter to him, which he reads, realizing he is lost, and goes home in failure.
So a good friend of mine, Larry the cab guy, he was supposed to be here tonight, but he wasn't able to make it. So I'm going to tell you all his part of the story. So by now, Stevie's pretty fed up that Bubba and Andy haven't paid him back his money yet. So he says that he wants to be paid back with 100 bottles of moonshine, an unheard of amount. I mean, this would take Andy months upon years to make that much moonshine. So they figure out what they're going to do about it. Bubba goes to poor Tricia's house. He's ready to try to guess the right jug of moonshine and make her his wife. So, but poor Tricia, she's in love with Bubba. She don't want him to pick the wrong jug of moonshine. So she has her friends kind of give him a hint on which one's the right jug. Stevie tells Andy, like I said, that he's got to give him 100 jugs of moonshine. So Andy says, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do, or find some other way to pay me. Then Grady comes and tells Antonio this. And poor Tricia says, well, I'll tell you what, I spent a year and a half at law school. I didn't make it through. And they said, okay, what can you help us? And she says, yeah. Now, initially in Hicksville, women didn't do much more than the chores and cook and clean. So she had to pretend like she was a man. So she went and got her Paul old overalls and boots and went and put them on, and boy, she looked like a country bumpkin. So her and her friend Daisy, who's married to Grady, they go and they're gonna go try to help Andy. Now Andy doesn't want them to help. Bubba wants them to help. They know that they're gonna dress up as boys. So also at this time, by this point, Jessica, she's done run away with Larry, and she tells Lance, she said, you know what, he makes me happy and he made me a Christian, so I'm staying with him. And now I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mr. Jeff Foxworthy.
Hey y'all, I'm Jeff Foxworthy, and I'm here to tell y'all the rest of this story. Okay, Leroy tries to convince Stevie to let Andy pay off Bubba's debt. Now see, he's deeper than catfish down in the bottom of a tank, muddy, all kind of stuff down there. Stevie refuses, threatening Leroy that if he ignores their agreement, that Hicksville will lose its reputation for all the fishermen all around the city. Okay? Patricia, she's disguised as a guy, that don't go swell with my book, but she can do what she wants to. So she's defending Andy and wins back his bass tracking. Through the defense that Stevie can only take 100 bottles of moonshine and nothing more, which is nearly an impossible task, because that's like prying the lid off the mason jar. Now see, Stevie is thinking about killing this other guy. So, you know, he's hotter than a fried egg in a skillet, you know. But that's pretty hot. So, Stevie has to become a fisherman and give half of his assets when he dies. That means bass trackers, fishing poles, reels, rods, string, lures, anything that has to do with fishing. And so to make this set in stone, Patricia makes Stevie sign NASCAR sticker on the back of her minivan. Now Grady meets Patricia and gives her Bubba's ring. Daisy tells Patricia that she too will get a ring from her husband. Patricia resigns herself and making both men regret both of their harsh actions. Now Patricia and Nellie arrive back at Belleville before Bubba, Andy, and Grady, and their followers, all of whom are unaware that it was Patricia and Nellie who defended them in Hicksville. Nellie and then Patricia scald their husbands for giving away their wedding rings, an important symbol of their love and fidelity to their two wives. Much comedy ensues to the two men attempt to the excuses of this. Patricia ends Bubba and Grady suffering by producing a letter which explains their role in Hicksville. The two men are embarrassed so bad that they could not even recognize their own two wives. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being such a great audience. I know we've had a great time out here tonight. We'd like to thank you all and invite you to come again. Next time we come to town, we're going to tell you the story of Romeo and Juliet. It's going to be... Oh!
Con los terroristas.
And do the Harlem Shake.